Hi, it's me again. In the Cheshire countryside, down the lane behind me is Dunham Massey. The time currently is 18:38 and it's Tuesday the 3rd of May 2022. Last year, James and I, when we did our North Radius ring walk, took in a section of the Bridgewater Canal. Today, I'm going to continue for another 2.5 miles down said canal and we'll see what we see on the way. What do you know, last time I was here, Big Bird A380 was flying overhead. And today it's the Ryanair Manchester to Prague flight. I was thinking, there's a science fiction show that I love called The Orville. It's a little bit like Star Trek, but a lot funnier, a little bit dirtier. But the episode I watched the other night called Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow made me think. In that episode, the ship's second in command, Kelly Grayson, meets a version of herself from 7 years prior. And it had me thinking, if I met me from 7 years ago, would I be proud of the man that I've become today? What was I even doing 7 years ago today? Well, luckily we have things like Facebook memories that pop up, but I've also been one to keep diaries of my adventures, so I can tell you, coupled with photographs, exactly what I was doing on this day 7 years ago. Jamie is with Louis in Verneuil-en-Allat, Picardie, France. Verneuil-en-Allat is a small commune which is just 2.5 miles up the River Oise to the northeast of Creil. Creil being the town where I lived for a year while teaching in France. I'd gone over for a week to visit Louis, taking along my little 2-year-old boy with me, small town boy. And on this particular day, we took a walk along the River Oise to Verneuil to explore the caves that are there, to explore the ruins of the castle that are there. So how's about this? I read to you now what I wrote on this day 7 years ago and show you a montage of photographs from the adventure. Let's do it.
Dimanche le 3 mai 2015, le jour du Seigneur. When Louis got back from Mass and had eaten, I proposed we go for a walk, and he suggested Verneuil-en-Allat. Good call. We went there on foot, having climbed past Louis' flat and going by allotments and a small airbase. There were horses too. Verneuil is top because it's got massive caves and ruins of a castle. You couldn't really get lost in them, well, as long as you have a light, which Louis did, but they're still proper deep, like a brilliant crank caverns. We had a good old explore and saw plenty of cul-de-sacs. Apparently the castle was as splendid as the one in Chantilly in its heyday. Amazing place to wander around. Afterwards, Louis wanted to show me a fountain too, La Fontaine de Sainte-Geneviève, so we went there. We ended up in a street that he visited in his childhood, and saw lots of cyclists like in the Tour de France. We walked back along the Oise, over a bridge that Louis never crossed in his life.
It's pretty old as the Bridgewater, first opened in 1761. It's quite a strange shaped canal though, kind of like a backwards C shape. On my last video you saw me cycle along the St Helens Canal, which is the oldest canal in the world, but the Bridgewater Canal is described as the first great achievement of the canal age, as it captured the public imagination because of its engineering feats and helped inspire a period of intense canal building in Britain known as Canal Mania. It also forms part of the Cheshire Canal Ring, which is a 97-mile circuit that you can do on the boats and takes about 7 days to complete, which probably explains why there are signs along here saying you can moor here for 48 hours but you can't return within 7 days. Been in training all week last week and this week, so the number of steps daily has gone right down. That's why I thought today I'd stop off on the way home and get some miles underfoot. That one looks a bit low in the water. Yesterday was Eid al-Fitr, which signals the end of the month of Ramadan. So Eid Mubarak to all of my Muslim colleagues, friends, viewers. All the best. So I told you what I was doing in 2015. I was about to skip back to 2008. I'd completed my 6-month probation working at Emirates, which meant I had access to staff travel, the ID 90 ticket where you only pay 10% of the fare. It is a standby ticket, meaning that if there are spaces on the flight, you can go. 3 guesses, guys. How much did it cost me for a return ticket to Dubai? Ducks! 120 quid. Can't complain at that, can you? So on this day in 2008, the 3rd of May, my mum and I flew from Manchester on a Boeing 777-300, the A380s weren't operating back then, to Dubai for my very first time. But what did you write in your diary, Jamie, I hear you ask? Well, let me tell you, and I'll show you some photos too. Let's do this.
No worries getting on the flight. In fact, we were ushered through the first business class check-in desk and were soon at the other side at Burger King. With a new phrase book and some magazines for mum, we were soon boarding the 777-300ER. I was so excited, more about the flight than anything. The ICE entertainment system's superb. I was listening to Eminem and Green Day, relaxing sounds of the English countryside and dolphin song. We both managed to nod off when they dimmed the lights after the nice meal, and there was time for me to fit in Dumbo as well. We landed about 6:20. The arrival wasn't quite as spectacular as I'd imagined because it was pretty misty, but there were a load of Emirates planes everywhere. We got on a wheelless Caterpillar bus over to arrivals, got our passport stamped, then headed out through customs. I was stopped by one bloke, but before long we were out in the heat looking for a taxi. One dodgy bloke wanted to charge us 95 dirhams, but in the end we got an official pink women's taxi. Big hotel, 24 floors. We did an early check-in just after 10:30, but until then we had some breakfast and then lay by the pool, falling asleep for a bit. We chilled for a bit in our room up on the good old 15th floor. The view's amazing, with Burj Dubai and all that visible in the distance. Then decided we'd go and explore the immediate vicinity. Having peeked in a supermarket, we wandered down Mankul Road. The traffic is as mad as they say, and ended up in Bastakia, with its traditional sand-coloured wind tower houses. From there we ended up by the creek, all sorts of boats sailing up and down it, and then in the covered Dubai souk. One mission for this holiday has been to get myself a dish dasher, the traditional white robe worn by men in the Middle East, and I succeeded. It took quite a bit of haggling, but in the end I got myself the lot for 180 dirham. I got myself a couple of Emirates t-shirts too for 10 dirham each. We got pretty lost after that though, and ended up getting a taxi back to Majestic Hotel. I was knackered by this point, and went to sleep for a few hours while Mum went down by the pool. About 10 though, I was wide awake, so Mum and I went downstairs. I had a quick swim, then to the Checkers bar we went. Not too bad a bar, but I went and dropped Mum's camera in my pint. I was using it as a makeshift tripod to do a panorama, and being smaller than I'm used to, it slipped in. Oops. It was soon back to bed after that.
Most expensive panorama I have ever taken in my life. Let's just take in some of the names of the boats. We've got Kerry Dan 3, Andorra, Rangi Toto, Aquarius. We've got Tansy, we've got September Morn. And as we come up to the bend in the canal on the next bridge, we're at Agden. So peaceful and quiet along here. What a lovely way to end a day. Just over the hedgerow you can see cows lowing in the field. You've got farms, fields of rapeseed. In the foreground here you've got all the beautiful blossom. Maybe should have done the walk in reverse, that sun is blinding. There we go. What are the rules of the canal? Let's have a look. Don't let your dog do a poo. No swimming, no cycling, no horse riding, no motorbikes. Got an old crane here. But there is private fishing allowed. Now I'm filming solely on the GoPro today, so there's no zoom. But if you look here, you can see there's boats as far as the eye can see. In Dispute, Katarina, Tintsfield. Little swallows here, just centimetres from the water surface. Loads of them. 5 lat temu byłem dzisiaj ponownie w Polsce. Rano byłem w Zdunskiej Woli. Potem pojechałem pociągiem do Łodzi. My Polish any better than 5 years ago. Łódź, unfortunately, being well known for its ghetto under the Nazis during World War II, when the city was known as Litzmannstadt. It's a fascinating old industrial city which still has lots of traces of Jewish culture in it and a thriving Jewish community today. Co napisałem w moim pamiętniku tego dnia?
I slept well last night here at Baczynskiego on the bed with my Harry Styles pillow. This morning Aneta did me Earl Grey in a bolek I lolek mug, plus a breakfast of cheese, ham slices and them lovely garlicky thin sausages. Cabanos. Seems like this week is all national holidays. On the 1st was International Workers' Day, yesterday was Flag Day or something, and in Wrocław I was given a flag and there was a military parade, and today, 226 years since the signing of the Polish Constitution. Today is an historical day. Zdunska Wola Jewish Cemetery. That moved me, that. Much more so than yesterday's cemetery. I think because of a comment Aneta said. No one looks after it, there's no one here to care about them. And it's so sad because you can see how big this cemetery actually is and how impressive it is. Yet it's all locked up. I had to climb over a wall to get in. As I was walking round the cemetery, I had Yiddish songs in my head. The graves are all smashed, bent, broken, leaning over. It's an eerie place with the trees at the top end growing up through where all the people are buried. And yet there are still so many gravestones left intact. Hundreds of them, all inscribed in Hebrew actually. Didn't see a single one in Polish. The 2 entrance gates are impressive also. I like this town. I don't really know it very well, but it's a nice morning and I'm stood on Perron 2 waiting for my train. You just walk over the tracks as you like. Hey, look at me. I managed to explain to the lady at the counter in my pidgin Polish that last night I got on the wrong train and had to buy a new ticket, that my original one was for a refund. Wczoraj byłem w złym pociągu, muszę kupić nowy bilet, tym jest lawrut. So I got my ticket to Łódź Kaliska today for free, and some money back. It was only £2 anyway. Nice. I love the sound of wood pigeons, reminds me of being little in Nana's back garden. I know my granddad hates them. Ah, this is nice. A bath. A lovely girl checked me in. Choice of smoking, non-smoking, bath or shower. It's nice and quiet too. Nice room. Green. I'll make this bath a quick one and then get back out there. I've walked over 5 miles already today. Łódź seems a bit rougher than a lot of the places I've been to in Poland. Still loads of amazing and fascinating buildings here though. I love it. Piotrkowska Street seems to be the city's pride. I shall wander up there later. I've booked another night at the hotel. 172 zlotys for the second night. So, I've come down to Restauracja Anatewka. It's a Jewish one. Got myself a pszeniczna and ordered frikadelki, cielęce w sosie kurkowym. She said a whole load of other words at me, so I just said, surprise me. I tell you what, this restaurant's pretty lovely. Literally every wall is covered in Jewish stuff. I really enjoyed that. Amazing place, such friendly people too, and so much cool stuff. I loved all the portraits, the secret room in a cupboard. Amazing place. Highly recommended by me, even if expensive, in inverted commas. 2 beers and a hearty meal for 73 zlotys. I wasted a whole load of time walking up to where the Reiche synagogue is supposed to be, and spent a whole load of time trying to find the thing, then gave up. Like a geocache. It must have been behind the closed gate that I saw. Only explanation. This city's mad. There's so many beautiful buildings, palatial, huge palaces, and they're either absolutely spotless or just fall into bits. That's probably why there's so many huge graffiti murals all over the place to liven it up. I came down to Manufaktura. I had a pszeniczne in Bierhalle. Good that I have my camera with me after all. iPhone soon fills up. So Łódź is the city of cinema. I mean, I've seen the stars on the street of Hollywood and I've been to the Museum of Cinematography. But why? Also, why is the city called Łódź, as in a boat? What is wrong with this city? Just had a young woman come up to me crying, "Give me hostel money please." And 20 yards on, another pretty girl looked like she was begging another fella. Right now I'm sat in Łódź's Irish pub. Nice wooden interior, but dead. And 19 zlotys a pint of Guinness. Rip off. Apparently the synagogue is only opened by a prior contact with the Jewish community of Łódź.
Canard, which is French for duck. Now this is cool. These look like brand new boats. Being built, painted, furbished. Never seen that before. The hedgerows dropped away at this point, so the people in this house behind me have got an unobstructed view across all of the fields. Hesford Marine. Basically a little petrol station by the side of the water for the boats. Wonder if the price of boat fuel has gone up just like it has with the cars. Imagine so. Everything's going up except the wages. There's quite a lot of pubs along this stretch. I think I've seen 3 already, if not 4. What a peaceful little life it must be, just sailing up, mooring your boat against the side of the water, and then just going for your evening meal and a drink before coming back and bedding down with the sound of the water lapping against your boat. You all romantic. Here, next to Olaf, is the Barn Owl Inn, and a chap there in the window watching as people pass by. The people there in the kitchen cooking away. Fantastic. Smells good too. I wonder what it'd cost to rent a boat for a week and just sail around. Always makes me think of that episode of Peep Show with Mark and Jeremy on the boat. Very reminiscent of buildings up on the Baltic and cities like Amsterdam. That wood at the top would be for a crane for lifting in any furniture into the building. No one's near as impressive as the one in Gdansk though, the Żuraw. I would absolutely love to take out this little rowboat here. Or even my rubber dinghy, to be honest, that'd be cool, but I don't think you're allowed. We're just going over a bridge. Let us drop down and have a look at it while we're here. Oh, look at this path. That's got to be the highest curb I've ever seen. So that was Burford Lane, the penultimate bridge on this walk. The reason being, last year Steve and I did a walk around Lim and the dam. I've still not got round to uploading it yet, my bad. But on that walk we walked as far as Ortrington Lane, which is the bridge just up ahead. And this is pretty much Lim in a minute. Wow, just coming up on the left are 2 swans and a family of babies. Last time we saw such a sight was with Steve and James down by Fiddler's Ferry. Hello. Hello. What a beautiful sight. Dunham Park, 2.5 miles. Lim, 1.25. Evening. Grantham's Bridge. Alright, one last little bit of nostalgia for you. You already know that I worked for a year in France teaching English in a school. Well, I did the exact same thing in Germany 3 years later. I was based at Gesamtschule Waltrop, which was a comprehensive school. And on this day, I went with a school party, a coachload of German kids from Germany. We drove through the night, through Belgium, through Holland, and then we took the Channel Tunnel, and we had one very full day in London, just seeing absolutely everything. Quite a strange feeling when you go on holiday to your own country. Anyone here ever lived abroad? It is a fantastic experience, honestly. Throwing yourself in the deep end, taking yourself into little villages where people don't speak English and being forced to learn the language, it's the best way. So this is the last one, I promise, but let me show you some photos and have a bit of a read, and then we'll carry on with the last bit of the canal.
Over the course of the day, we will be in 5 countries, starting with Germany, then Holland, Belgium, France and England. Nice one. I've never been to Belgium before. All we saw was a service station. All the little kids were running about the place, causing mischief. Anyway, we got to Calais about 5:30 at the Eurotunnel entrance. We all got off the bus to have our passports checked, then on we went, behind some French bus that was having a bit of trouble getting in. It's pretty cool, the tunnel. Other than wobbling a bit, we wouldn't have known we were moving. And we were soon in Kent. Maidstone Services was the kids' first view of the British, and with sandwiches at like £4, it was pathetic. But before long, we were on our way into the city. 8 AM was supposed to be the time of our arrival in central London, but the traffic was mad. Getting from Dover to Maidstone took us no time at all, although granted I slept through most of it, but getting through Streatham, Brixton and all that took forever, and by the time we got to the centre, we were about 2 hours late. One lad was sick, but the kids loved all the things like British school kids and the milk float. In the end, we all got out in Whitehall near Downing Street, wandered up to Trafalgar Square. We played about on Nelson's Column for a bit, but then had to get to Buckingham Palace to see the changing of the guard. The teacher in charge said that he didn't want to make the kids walk too much, although it was right nearby, so we messed around looking for the bus stop, went too far, got off, turned around, got there late, and there were loads of crowds, so we didn't see anything anyway. 12:30, British Museum.
Bloody nice his limb. Little bit posh. Well, I guess you all came here today expecting just one adventure. Well, it was you buy one, you get 4 free. I said you buy one and you get 4 free. Just wish back in the day I did vlogging. But to be fair, I can't even keep up today, so. I like that, the Hobbit one there and back again. Is that another pub? I think it is. Alright guys, I think that's it for today. I will leave you with a thought. The past is history, the future is a mystery, but the present is a gift. So enjoy every minute of it. Until the next adventure, you look after yourselves. All the best. Take care.
Ja,